Across the Atlantic Ocean lies a subtropical oasis that beams of exotic beauty. With its signature pink sand, aqua water, and classic rum swizzle, Bermuda is the gem of the Atlantic. Journey today with the Reinsurance podcast as we head to this island paradise to take part in Bermuda's annual Risk Summit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reinsurance podcast here in Bermuda. I am your co-host, Jared Lee.
And I'm Ben Rose, and we're delighted to have with us David Hart, CEO of the Bermuda Business Development Agency. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and welcome to Bermuda.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for posting such an amazing event. We've really loved the first couple of days of it. There's a couple of days to go, so we're leaning right into it, so thank you.
And you brought the sun with you as well.
We brought the sun out today, and it'll be out tomorrow as well.
Yeah. And so there's a lot to cover in this short conversation that we're going to have, but I'd love to give our listeners a bit of an understanding of what the BDA does in Bermuda, because this event is just part of it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So who's the BDA?
Right. So we're the Bermuda Business Development Agency, and as you said, I'm David Hart. I'm the CEO. We're a small team of 10. We're Bermuda's public-private partnership. We're also a not-for-profit corporation. And our mission is quite simply to grow and diversify Bermuda's economy. And so we do that by hosting events like this, the Bermuda Risk Summit. We also do it by traveling the globe to tell the Bermuda story and speak about our attributes to try to attract investment, foreign direct investment, create job opportunities here in Bermuda.
Amazing. And we've been here for the Bermuda Risk Summit for our first time, but it's not the first time it's been run. We're third time, is that right now?
That's right. We're the third annual. We launched this 2 years ago. And if we were all to put our time machine hats on and go back 2 years, we all remember that we were still in COVID times.
Yeah, true.
And the world was trying to together claw our way out of COVID. In fact, we had the Omicron spike happen while we were in the final few weeks of planning.
Wow. Yeah.
And it became a very concerning time. And I kept telling our sponsors and our team, our staff, we're going to be okay. I've watched South Africa's numbers. It went up like a rocket and it came down like a rocket. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. We're going to be at a trough by the time the Bermuda Risk Summit gets here in March. And sure enough, things calmed down right on schedule. And we ended up hosting the first big conference on island since before COVID. Yeah. And it was an enormous hit because everybody was so thrilled to be back together in person instead of only talking on Zoom calls. Yeah. And it just launched the event into kind of its own stratosphere.
Yeah. Well, and we know all about Bermuda and its role in sort of the reinsurance market specifically, but when you were sort of envisioning this conference sort of probably a number of years ago now, what was the objective you wanted to achieve? What was sort of the mission you set out with? We're going to do this and this is what we're going to get from it.
Yeah, well, certainly credit to our board of directors at the time. They had the vision that because COVID had really shut down tourism and business travel for the better part of 2 years, Bermuda was beginning to lose that special touch with so many of our clients in reinsurance. And the deals were still happening for the most part, but they were happening over Zoom calls instead of the normal way that reinsurance business works, which is a very person-to-person relationship-driven business. And so the vision was, we've got to launch an event that is must attend. That everyone will say, I can't miss that. I got to be back in Bermuda. And that the reinsurance companies here on island would use our event as an attractor to bring their clients in, which actually is why we purposefully set the event up over 3 days with half a day's of content each morning, afternoons really widely available to do those client meetings and sew up the deals.
Yeah. No, we've been amazed actually by the quantity and quality of people that you've brought here, right? The number of not just reinsurance people, but also insurance commissioners from out of the US. We've had people from Lloyd's, like the Lloyd's exec coming over to talk.
Right. Rating agencies. You've had technology providers and service providers to the industry, all in the same place, all tackling a very complex set of challenges that the market's going through.
It's
right
quite
now.
Amazing when you can get that many thought leaders all in one room for 3 days. And really good things come from it.
Yeah. No, well, and we are on the reinsurance podcast, but it's more than reinsurance in this summit. It's the risk summit. And we were just having a conversation with the people from Aon, but what the island is allowing to happen that's attracting new captive products and all manner of expertise around risk management more holistically. And reinsurance and insurance is a component of that, but it's much broader than that. And the island is doing an amazing job sort of attracting all array of sort of risk oversight and risk management, which is really excellent.
Well, and again, it goes back to your earlier question about what was the original vision. It really was meant to be a celebration of our status as the risk capital of the world and to showcase all those subsectors within risk. And
Yeah.
so, as you've noticed today, there's been, and tomorrow there'll be touches on everything from property casualty to life to cyber to some of the new innovations that are going on across the island. And there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw, we're out here in the Hamilton Princess, and outside somewhere earlier, I saw a cushion on a sofa that said on it, Bermuda, the middle of everywhere,
That's
rather
right.
rather than the middle of nowhere. And it's a brilliant message, and
Yeah.
so true, because the types of people that you get from the North American side, the type of people coming over from Europe and the UK, all blending and melting together. I think it's amazing what can be done here.
Playing off the fact that we are also a financial center like New York and London, we have another saying, which is Bermuda, the center of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Well, and it's when you think about risk, especially in the modern world, like risk does sort of work without borders now, right? And
very
before
much.
you always had these like little hubs, but in the similar way that Lloyd's became like a center of insurance for all the complex things, no matter where it was in the world, would descend on into Lloyd's. I think in this broader risk conversation, you're beginning to create that same environment here where you have a complex risk you're trying to solve for in Hong Kong, and that still might land here as the
course.
solution begins to be built out here. And that kind of innovation is really exciting.
It really comes down to that talent. We've got
Yeah.
now, 3 decades plus buildup of expertise that just keeps growing. And all these people you've met yesterday and today and tomorrow that spend literally all day, every day thinking about these complex risk problems around the world and how to put a solution forward into the market that can solve it. So it's really quite unique.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you get to the end of the conference, so we've got still a day and a bit to go, I hope that the first thing you're going to do is pat yourselves on the back and have a big party, because it's well deserved. You should be celebrating the success. But what does the rest of the year bring for you following
Right.
that?
Well, we're in an exciting time right now because in addition to the Bermuda Risk Summit, we've also been working on a rather significant new strategic plan. And so I think in the coming weeks and months, check back in on us because you'll see some new direction for the BDA of how we go about attracting in a data-driven way even more foreign direct investment to Bermuda. It's time to up our game. We know the world's changing faster and faster every day, and our competition's not standing still. And so we aim to not stand still either.
No, very exciting. And when you think about this event next year, which we're excited to come back for, we've grown to 400 attendees this year. Is that right? Is that the right number that
So we've grown every year
Yeah.
of the 3 years, Jared. Last year we hit 452.
Yep.
And we surpassed that yesterday morning at the last minute of registration at the desk. So it's just been, we frankly are at capacity. That's
Yeah.
all the ballrooms at the hotel can hold.
Yeah.
And it's nice to, it's a good problem to have to be in there on opening day with our
Yeah.
premier and the CEO of Arch kicking it off
Yeah.
and realize, oh my gosh, it's standing room only at the
Yeah,
back. And where
yeah.
are we going to put everyone?
Yeah. And the demand is so high
And
that
the demand's
yeah.
high. So the other thing I would love to share is that the percentage of overseas guests coming in for the conference hit a new high as well. We crested 40% this year coming in from markets like London and throughout the U.S. But we even had, I sat yesterday at lunch with an insurance executive from Chile. Had a wonderful talk about what's going on in Latin America in the risk world. So just a fantastic, mix of brilliant people all under one roof.
Nice. And obviously, probably too many topics to name that have come out during the conference, but any highlights for you of themes that people have been diving into?
Well, I think I announced this morning that I might have had a favorite, and I think the audience, as I was watching them, felt that way too. The one that was this morning on the revolution of risk, Bermuda's journey to becoming a world's risk capital, that was an all-star lineup of just brilliant people, and I think we were all captivated, hanging on, those really interesting stories about the things that came together in a collaborative way to set Bermuda up for what she's become.
Yeah. No, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up on this. We'll ask you a couple more questions, and we'll
Sure.
let you get back to the venue. But what are the sort of changes you want to make going into next year? Do you want to? Is it looking to, because capacity is what capacity is going to be for a conference like this? But are
Right.
you looking to attract more internationally? Do you want to double down on driving sort of local innovation units and things here? What's sort of the way you're look to sort of one up yourself again next year?
It's a great question, Jared, but it's a little tough to answer all by myself.
Yeah.
And the reason is we'll do a debrief as a team once this is over of what went right, what went great, what do we want to do better for next year. But I should also say, we work, as you've seen in Bermuda, it's a very collaborative jurisdiction. And so we work very closely with our sponsors, and our stakeholders and our board to sort of all have that opportunity to put feedback into the feedback jar of how do we pivot to make it even bigger, better next year. But we do like the aspect of, the more overseas executives we can attract. I think that's a win for us, because typically what we've experienced is when you get that person here for the first time, they realize, oh my gosh, this really is something special. This isn't just an island with pretty pink sand beaches and turquoise water. It also happens to be a very sophisticated financial center.
Yeah.
Completely. And I hope that listeners to the Reinsurance Podcast's special Bermuda edition will get a flavor of the variety and incredible quality of people that you've been able to bring together at events like this one.
I hope they'll listen in.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been an absolutely great discussion and an amazing conference. So thank you for hosting it again.
Well, Ben and Jared, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being here and the opportunity to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.